More money, you got less problems. At least minor ones, all your basics accounted for. Team elite I run with, I'm guaranteed to be Final Four. Less money, you got more problems. More money, you got less problems. At least.
All right, good evening back, bringing Albany community's knowledge. I do want to take this time out to go ahead and say
1906.
Shout out to my frat brother Tyrone, who we have on tonight. My man T is gonna bring his influence, his life, his experience into Albany. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna mess it up on the air, because I promise you, I've been saying your last name ever since you agreed to this interview. And is it Waklatsi?
It's Waklat, like blood clot. Waklatsi.
Waklatsi. Oh, Waklatsi.
Yep.
Okay.
That's simple.
All right, here we go. So
Yep.
Back Albany community, we have Tyrone Waklatsi.
Waklatsi.
Waklatsi. Listen, I ain't even gonna mess it up no more, because that'll be too many times messing you up publicly, brother. So my man
good,
T
bro.
is here with us tonight. How about that?
Absolutely.
Listen, I know this. I know this guy since I was a youngin. You know, we have a lot of paths, a lot of circles that overlap. That definitely made my path and your path cross, and I'm sure we'll be able to dive into some of that and get an opportunity to go into some of that tonight. But I'll tell our listeners, you know, one reason why I wanted to reach out to Tyrone was because he has a unique perspective. As I already alluded to earlier, he's also my frat brother. So, you know, growing up in Albany, it's a whole nother dynamic to become Greek and be a part, an active part of different Greek organizations. So, you know, I wanted to bring that perspective in here, and I knew exactly who I wanted to go to, and that was Tyrone. So, but I'm looking forward to diving into your story, brother, to learning a little bit more about you and the things that you love about Albany.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being on with us tonight.
Well, thank you for the invite, brother. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, listen, man, without further ado, like I said, man, I know we both was putting down the kids to sleep, so I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby.
All right, let's get it.
All right. Let me see. First off, Tyrone, can you please tell the Albany community, what are you doing now? What kind of work do you do? What kind of passion projects are you working on? Please tell the Albany community about you, T.
All right. Well, good evening, Albany. My name is Tyrone Waklatsi. I am a veteran benefit advisor. My office is actually downtown in Tower 2, but I have another office that I work out of, which is in the Albany VA, the Albany Stratton VA Medical Center. So a lot of people know me from passing in the VA, and a lot of people, you know, a lot of people that we may not even know in the Albany community that are veterans that look for veteran help with whether it be claims, housing, all kinds of stuff dealing with veterans. A lot of them are come to me for that kind of help. My passion right now, I love working with veterans. I love working with veterans. I've been a teacher before. I love working with students, but my passion is veterans because it was a veteran that helped me in one of my darkest times. You know, I at the time I lost my job. I had no income coming in. I was homeless. Somebody had my landlord had just passed away. So their kids were like, yeah, you got 30 days to move out. So all of this happened all at the same time. And it was a veteran counselor that I was dealing with that helped me get income and actually helped me get the job that I'm currently in. So I made the promise to him that no matter what, I would continue that legacy that he instilled in me. Being my veteran counselor, I wanted to continue that. So my passion, even it's crazy because I have people that have hit me up on Facebook. You know, they don't know me, but they've heard of me, so they look me up on Facebook. They'll look me up and say, "Hey, I need help with this claim. Can you do this?" And it can be 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, ah, you know, my day ended at 4, but I'm gonna go ahead and help you out.
Okay.
So that is what my passion is right now. Definitely helping out veterans. I still do a little bit of stuff with students, of course. You know, through our fraternity, we do a lot of things with scholarship and you know, mentorship, all of those kind of things. And I'm always active in those things as well.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you spend some time in the service too? Which part of the service were you in?
I did. I was in the Army. I did a total of 8 years in the Army. I did 2 tours to Kuwait and Iraq as a frontline medic. Let's just say I've seen some things over in Kuwait and Iraq. They have definitely, that's part of, you know, some of the traveling that I've done, that has definitely shown me that I need to be grateful for what I have. When you see how people are living in other countries and, you know, other places and the things that they're dealing with, it makes you appreciative of the things that you do have. Even though, you know, growing up in Albany, you know, we might not have had much, but compared to what I've seen, we you know, our cup overfloweth. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, I know one of my earlier interviews, I was interviewing Daryl McCray over there at Bricks, and he was trying to tell me how he's trying to rejuvenate the energy around veterans work. And it was like, we got a lot of powerful stories there. You know, everyone always talks about Henry Johnson, but he just really wants to hone in on that. So immediately when you started talking about veterans and your passion there, it drew me back to that conversation I was having with Daryl about that, and being able to have a younger cohort to help lead it. But yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I know Daryl. I actually believe I've helped him with the claim once before. But we also are part of the 369th Regiment here in Albany, New York.
Yep.
Yes, I'm a part of that as well. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you.
And all that you do in all aspects, you know, and I don't say that lightly, you know, I mean, to be able to make that level of sacrifice and commitment for 8 years, and still be a part of that, ensuring that you're okay and the lives of other veterans are okay and good. So thank you very much for your service too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let me see. This is my bread and butter question right here. So it tells me a lot about everyone that I interview. So what's your favorite place to go to in Albany and why?
So my favorite place in Albany, my favorite place is weird. It's not weird, but it's weird. What a lot of people don't know is actually I was born down in Queens. I grew up a lot down in Queens, and I moved up to Albany probably around the age of 9. One of the first things that I remember about Albany, like probably anybody that has been to Albany, that RCA dog. The RCA dog on top of that building has always. So a little bit more of a background to my story. So I grew up in Queens. I actually grew up in foster care, which a lot of people don't know about me. I grew up in foster care. Both my mother and my father both died before I turned 9. And we ended up going into foster care because the rest of my family wasn't able to take care of us at the time. So when we moved up to Albany, we moved to Albany because we had a family that was looking to adopt. The RCA dog was the first thing I saw coming into Albany. Once we got with the family that wanted to adopt us, you know, getting used to them, it always made me feel good about just seeing that RCA dog, because it all of a sudden became home to me.
Wow.
Just seeing that dog, even when, you know, I don't live in the immediate Albany area, but I live right on the outskirts of Albany. So I come into Albany for my job every day. Still seeing that, it does something to me. It makes me feel like Albany is always going to be home, even though I may not have been born there, and, you know, early parts of life growing up, maybe, you know, I wasn't in Albany, but Albany is always going to be home, and that's going to be one of the things that I'm always going to keep with me.
Nice.
The other thing that is a big, it's kind of weird. New York State Plaza.
Okay.
The plaza is just, to me, it's you know, again, seeing that growing up, it's just this big miraculous place to me. I remember, you know, the Black Fest and seeing the Fugees for the first time. Oh my God, that's what made me fall in love with Lauryn Hill. You know, Lauryn Hill has been my favorite female MC forever.
Finally,
forever.
Thank you. I be telling people that all the time, man.
Yes, and going down and seeing, you know, different acts going on, and seeing, you know, some of the kids performing and stuff like that. Even to this day, still when they have it, going down to the vendors and, you know, doing a little shopping. That's a big part of what makes Albany home for me as well. Even going down there now, you know, I like to go do some walking. So we'll go to different places all around the Capital District. So we'll be out in Niskayuna one day on the bike trail. We'll be in Schenectady on the bike trail. We may be, there's a bunch of different places. We'll walk down on the Riverwalk, downtown Albany. But something about especially before I got married, when I really was trying to lose weight and get in shape, you would see me posting videos of me running up and down them stairs and going around the whole plaza, just walking around the plaza. And then when I finally, you know, being from Albany and actually having an office in the towers in the Empire State Plaza, I'm not supposed to be able to do that. So that has been a big part of Albany to me, and it's even a bigger part to me now. Nice.
You know, to just to add a very quick funny to your what is it, the dog story, right? Listen, I'm gonna tell you how little I knew for a long time. So all I remember with that dog was that people always said that it was a flea market, right? So I was like, who goes to a market to buy fleas, right? And it was like, you know, as I got older and I understood the concept more, you know what I mean, seeing it on the West Coast or whatever, it was just like, oh, you know, that was a flea market. I had the wrong concept of that altogether. Yeah.
Right.
It definitely started right there. But,
yeah, that's a big part of Albany, man. That's a big part of Albany, and it forever will be a big part of Albany to be. Really
nice.
will. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, let me see. Thinking of your younger self, and you know what? I'm going to go on a limb because in my mind, I'm over here testing myself because I think I know how to say your last name, Crisp, right? And I'm just like, try it again, Tyrell. Try it again. So I'm just going to try it again. Watch this. Thinking of your younger self, what do you wish someone had taught the younger Tyrone Waklatsi?
Boy, you got it. So what I tell you, the biggest thing for me that I've been finding out over the past couple of years, probably 10 years, I've been really, really adamant about working with this and working at this. Finances, credit, credit score, all of those types of things. I really wish, and I think the majority of us wish that a lot of us didn't have parents that told us about those types of things and how important it is. Especially, like I said, you know, we're looking at buying a house. You know, when you're looking to buy a car, credit is everything. Credit is everything. So when you're talking about buying a car and you're getting a 22% interest rate compared to a 3 or 3 point such and such rate, how much money that saves you. Those just that little thing is credit report, and it doesn't seem like it's it's much, because we never really dealt with it or talked about it like that. Not that our parents kept it from us, the ones that knew about it, but a lot of them probably didn't know about it, and they weren't taught about it, so they had to learn on the fly just like we did. That is something that I would tell my younger self, how to prepare better, as far as when I do look at wanting to buy a house, when I do look at wanting to buy a car, just when I want to, I need to go get a cell phone, or simple things like that, or credit cards and how credit cards work. I didn't have a credit card until I turned 40. I think my first credit card I had was 40. No, it was 39, but I got that. I got a secured credit card. Okay. Somebody told me, hey, this is how you can start building your credit. When I really started talking to people about how to build credit and how to put myself in a better position for when I want to buy a house and when I want to buy a car, those are the things that I would definitely tell myself on how to go about doing those kind of things. Those little things like, getting a credit card and, being able to stay under 30% usage of the credit card and making sure that you pay it on time. Those little simple things that they seem little and simple to me now. If I knew those back then, I wouldn't have had the problems that I had, in my late 20s, early 30s, where I wasn't able to do nothing because my credit was shot. I had no real income, all of those type of things. So, those are the things that I probably would definitely tell myself and get myself prepared better for it.
Okay. And that's actually one of the things that we talked about when we had Charles Toohey and Brandon Stanford on too. We were talking about creating Black wealth. And, a lot of it is, my wife and I have these conversations all the time, but it's like, it's very hard to put yourself in a position to think long term when you're worried about the day to day.
Absolutely.
So, day to day comes first. So it's kind of like, I grew up in a household. My mom's philosophy was always rob Peter to pay Paul. So it wasn't until later in life that she was just like, I got to stop robbing Peter and I just got to pay Paul. And if I got to be broke later, but I would make sure that everything is paid. So, going through those aspects, I think that's a great sharing point, because if we knew the importance of these things earlier, not to say we still won't mess it up or make some mistakes, but being able to have financial literacy be one of the foundations of the households, you realize how it affects us so much more later. I was reading the story that the Times Union had just put out about the young man and his family there in Albany.
Right.
And it was just like, so we were working behind the scenes to get some stuff done for him, but it was just like, in my opinion, one of the game changers were going to be to get him a stable job. And it was just like, having having stability just affects us, and it hits us differently, and we're able to provide and be an impact on ourselves and for our family in a whole different way. So financial literacy is key.
And that's how we grow too, by passing that information on. Don't keep it. A lot of information that our parents have, they may not know it in and out, but they have that information, and they can pass that on to us and say, hey, I'm not absolutely sure how this works, but I know this works like this. Why don't you do some research on this and see how it actually works, and see how to make it work for you. That's one thing that I found, one thing that I've been thinking about very heavily lately, because I have a daughter. My daughter is 6, and I'm thinking about how can I better prepare her for the future. Little simple things little simple things that I didn't know, like you can add your child to as an authorized user on your card, and it helps her credit score while she, you know, and she may not never use the credit card, but it's still going to help her credit as well. I did not know that. So that's something that I will be looking into, you know, a little bit down the road.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to make sure that my daughter is set up. Life insurance, wills, all of those things. Those are things that, you know, that we don't really talk about with our parents. Those are things that I've been really, you know, buckling down and doing lately. You know, hey, I gotta get a life insurance policy put together, get our wills put together, so that, you know, when I pass away, you know, God forbid, when I pass away, that I don't leave them something. I gotta leave them something. So, you know, there may be some sacrifices that I have to make. I may not be able to go out to McDonald's. You know, I might have to go out one less time, you know, a month to McDonald's to pay for this, but God forbid something happened to me and they're not taken care of. That would, you know, that would hurt anybody. So, you know, those are the things that I would definitely pass on, and things that I'm glad that I've been, you know, getting this knowledge and passing it on. You know, you know my boys, you know, so I'm sure sometimes they get tired of me talking to them about this stuff. Like, hey, did you get your insurance policy? I know you're looking at buying a house. Have you worked on your credit? Hey, go my man that I've been working on my credit with. Here's his name. Here's his number. Talk to him. He'll get you taken care of. You know, and yet, you know, it's not free. This is not free stuff, but you get your stuff taken care of, and you'll learn some things things that you can pass on to your children and your friends and your you know, people that are coming up behind you that you want to help out. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. It's I don't think that what's the word I'm looking for? I think that it's so vital to opportunity itself. Just being able to know the knowledge. And it's kind of like, you know what I mean, when we're younger, we don't realize how much is interrelated into all these other things. Sometimes you can't even get a job because you got all these dings and stuff on your credit. And it'd be like, actually, you look like somebody we can't trust. So when you start realizing how it applies and it plays out, it's just like, okay, now once you get it together, now you guard it with your life. Be like, you know, I got people like, hey, you know what I mean, Rel, can you co-sign for me? No,
absolutely not.
Like, you know what I mean? So, and it's just like, and it's kind of like, really, like I said, man, once you go through the process of rehabilitating yourself and just realizing simple mistakes that we made, it's like, you know what? If I do it again, that's on me.
Right.
I mean?
Absolutely.
And you ain't gonna get me twice for the same thing. You might get me for something else, but it won't be that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, let me see, man. I got an education question for you. Do you think education saved you or opened up doors for you?
Oh, it absolutely did. It absolutely did. So I have a bachelor's of fine arts from the great Morris College, a small HBCU in South Carolina. And it's funny because my mother went to Morris and graduated from Morris. I went to Morris and graduated. I had a couple of cousins that went there that graduated. I had a niece that went there for a little while. She didn't stay there. She went somewhere else. You know, it's a family tradition. And it's crazy because when I say my family, I'm talking about my adoptive family.
Yep.
My biological family, at that time, not one person had a degree. I don't even know if most of them finished high school. And I'm still in touch with my biological family.
Yep.
But my adopted family, you got principals, you got college professors, you got anywhere from bachelor's, master's, doctorates, and beyond in this family. So they made sure that education played a big part in my life, meaning that they made sure that I went to school, did what I was supposed to do. I may not have gotten the best grades, but I kept at it. They were not going to let me quit. Even when, you know, it's funny when I tell a story that how I got to Morris, I still do not know. I actually had just got out of the military I was a reservist, so I just got out of the military. My training, my basic training, my annual, my AIT, my annual training, individual training, and I get home back to Albany. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. I start working at this retail store. I get fired from the retail store because they didn't train me correctly, and I'm like, this is not the way to go. My mom was like, hey, don't worry about it because you got accepted to Morris and you leave next week. I was like, wait, what? I didn't apply to go to college. What do you mean? Yeah, well, you're going. You leave next week. I got your little car so you can drive down, and you're going to college. I'm like, oh man, that was the best decision my mother made for me.
Nice.
Because I don't think I would have, I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't get that little nudge from her saying that college for you, she thought, a lot of people told me that, no, you're not college material. I mean, I literally had a teacher tell me that I ain't SHIT. One of my teachers actually told it to me. That was third grade. And and this was when I was still living in Queens. Once I moved up here to Albany, my mother told me, I don't care what they said, that is not you.
Correct.
You can do it. You need to push yourself. So I continued to, I bucked a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do school, this, that, but I stayed with it and kept with it. Graduated Albany High and, went to the military, got home and ended up going to college. And I was, listening to those teachers telling me, the same teacher that told me I wouldn't be SHIT also told me that either you're going to be a drug dealer, you're going to be dead by 18, or you're going to be running around here with a bunch of kids. And it was like, do I listen to what he says and make him out to be correct, or do I make him a liar?
Correct.
One of the proudest days of my life was when I got that letter and I called my mother and was like, hey, I need to read this to you. And it said, you met the requirements for your bachelor's in fine arts. She said, oh, you got that, huh? She said, you don't got it no more. Send it to me right now. Send all your invitations to me. I'm taking them around to those teachers that told you you wouldn't be nothing and giving them an invitation to your college graduation.
Nice.
That was one of the proudest days of my life. So when you say, did education do something for me? It absolutely set me on the path where I am now. I don't think that I know I wouldn't have the job that I have now, because when I came into this job, you needed at least a bachelor's. Before then, you didn't need it. But now to get into this position, you probably need a bachelor's plus, if not a master's now.
Okay.
When I came in, I was probably one of the only new people that had a bachelor's already. And that was 6 years ago.
Okay. So
that was only 6 years ago that, when I came in and they were like, oh, you have a bachelor's already. Okay. But it's still, I wouldn't have been able to get that job. I wouldn't have been able to get the job I had before that, because before that I was actually a clerk at the VA, and you had to have a bachelor's degree at least to even get in the door. And most of the jobs, I've had jobs that told me that they needed to at least see a bachelor's degree. I've had several jobs. I've applied for several jobs that said you need at least a bachelor's degree to even get into this position. So, her pushing me into, hey, you're going to college. That definitely showed me how important education was. And a lot of people will say, it's not that important. If you look at statistics, which I like to do, it shows you the different incomes that each level makes. And it's just a ballpark figure. It's not, absolute, but it tells you at this, most people start out about this much. With a master's, this is what you'll be probably making, and doctorate and plus, this is what you'll be making. And for the most part, I've seen that to be true.
And if you add in that other variable, you'll see what a bachelor's degree for African Americans does versus what a bachelor's degree does for white Caucasian,
Absolutely.
versus a person who has a high school diploma or your master's or doctorate or JDs as you go up or whatever. But it's just like,
right.
you know, I mean, you got all those variables.
When you see them, I don't know, it's like it's mind blowing that you know. And I'll be perfectly honest. My supervisor, I think I don't think my supervisor even has a bachelor's degree, but he's been there 20 years, 20 plus years. I don't think he has a bachelor's degree. I don't know when he would have had time to get it because he done retired from like 3 jobs already. So I don't know how he would have had time for a bachelor's. And not saying he couldn't have, but I honestly don't think he has a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
I know other people that are in supervisor positions in my agency that have no degrees.
Okay.
Yet they're supervisors and they're above me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
If you get in at a time period where that wasn't the requirement, you know, I have same individuals like that at my job too. If you get in at a time period where that wasn't a requirement, and like I said, man, you can work yourself up and outwork everybody else, and it really tells you that, you know, what did Jadakiss say before? Hard work would outwork the talent if the talent don't work hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. But let me see. Here's one for you too.
Okay.
Do you feel that you were miseducated at all by the Albany school district in regards to your schooling, whether that was public or private, or what steps did you have to take to become enlightened, if that was the truth?
Gotcha. So I don't know if I would necessarily say misled or something like that. I will definitely say that a lot of what I had to learn was on my own.
Okay.
I can't tell you if I've ever met with my guidance counselor. I could not tell you who my guidance counselor was. I can't tell you that I've ever met with my guidance counselor my whole time at Albany High. I don't, if my guidance counselor was sitting here at this table with me right now, I'd be like, who is this dude? I would not know. Or who's this lady? I would not know.
Okay.
So I felt like I didn't really have the guidance at school like a lot of others, let's just say a lot of other people did.
Okay.
You know, I was a jock, you know, I played football and ran track. So I guess, I don't know if they just thought that, oh, well, you know, because I was pretty good that, hey, he'll find somewhere, they'll walk on somewhere and get a degree. But that wasn't the path that I wanted to take anyway. I was done with, at least I was done with football when I got out of high school. I didn't want to play. My body had taken a pretty bad beating and I was just done with football. But I don't remember my guidance counselor or even ever talking to a guidance counselor. So a lot of things that I had to deal with, my mother helped me with.
Okay.
My mother was a big part of, she was a big part of everything that I am. I remember times in, you know, I went to Colony at one time. And I remember that was like fifth or sixth grade. I was at Sand Creek Middle School in Colony. And I remember, you know, when you're a young kid, you do little stupid stuff. I had a pencil eraser, you know, the ones that you put on the back of the pencils. And one of my boys took it and ran with it. And I chased him down and I grabbed it back from him out of his hand. Well, I had a teacher call the principal. I mean, tell them I was selling drugs. In sixth grade, I'm selling drugs at school. You know, my mom she didn't come to the school to talk to the teacher, to the principal. She went straight to the superintendent. And she, you know, she was like, nah, mom, my son ain't no mother, you know Yeah, my son ain't no drug dealer. What is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and my mom made sure that I understood this is how they're going to look at you. They're
Correct.
always going to look at you as not as good as their kids, but also that you are always going to be up to no good. You're never going to be, an upstanding citizen. You're not going to do what you're supposed to do. You're going to try to manipulate the system, and that's not what I was about. Especially not at sixth grade, man. I still was talking about I don't want to talk to girls, and I want to play football, and I'm trying to run track, and that's what I was about. So I just forgot. I was thinking about something else too.
No. So no, I think you hit it. It was just like one, it wasn't directly, but two, you put the onus back on yourself.
Right,
And you said,
right.
well, a lot of it, I'm not even going to put it on the system. I'm not going to put it on the school district. A lot of it, I had to go ahead and educate myself on. And thankfully, you had your mother who helped
Right.
push you in all of those avenues. And I think it was great, just to set the standard that you have to work harder in order to be able to just be looked at as either the same or still or still below. And people have stereotypes and perceptions of you, and it's your job to change those stereotypes and perceptions based upon how you carry yourself.
Absolutely. That was a big thing with my mom. She was just like, I don't care what people say about you. That's not you, and it's not you. So why will you let them be correct with what they say? Always prove them wrong. Always. Always. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it was your biological mother and father. You prove them wrong. It doesn't matter if it's me. If I tell you can't do something, you show me that you can. No matter what, you keep pushing until you can.
Prove them wrong.
And I've always stuck with that.
Like you said, you prove them wrong.
You prove them wrong. That's it.
I got a question for you because you're a traveling man. You've been to Kuwait. You've been to Iraq. You've been to South Carolina for school. Can you identify any attitudes or behaviors or experiences that were only normalized to Albany? What I mean? One people always say, like, where you going with that, Rel? And then I always use, for example, like, like boy, like, when people say boy, or now they're saying goy or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you think of any anything that would be like, this is so Albany? What's your reference?
You got me on that one because I was thinking of the question in a different way, but there are some things that are so Albany. My mom owned a house on Livingston Ave, so we lived on Livingston Ave for most of high school. There's some things that are just Albany. One thing I always remember is I never knew the guy's name, but there was a guy that used to walk up and down Livingston Ave, and he'd be talking to himself in different voices. It was it would scare us as kids. It really would. You would see him coming down the street, you would walk to the other side of the street or something like that. But it was Albany. It was Albany. It was something that you expected to see in Albany. One thing about my mother, she made sure that, even though earlier we went to schools, I went to like Sand Creek, I went to County High, I went to CBA. She made sure I knew who I was, that I was an African-American male. She made sure that I hung around, that she kept me involved with things that catered to African-Americans, especially African-American males. So I was in programs like the Achievers. I remember one time she had me do a book report on Thurgood Marshall, and my mother used to work for a Division of Youth, DFY, where she was a social worker for Division for Youth. She made me do this big long book report, and I didn't know why. And what she ended up doing was having me read it to some of the students that were locked up. So I actually went with her to one of these facilities and do the report in front of all of these people that I didn't know. You know, I had kids cursing me out and telling me shut
Hurry
up
up,
and
speed this up.
right. What did you? Who is this? Who is this? Beep, 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 beep. I'm like, why am I here? But she wanted me to see that this is not where you want to be. Now, this Achievers program with these kids that are doing something with themselves, they're believing in more than what they're being told by people that don't look like us, that don't believe in us. These kids over here are making liars out of those people. And that's what I want you to do. I don't want you here with you know, thinking that this is the way out. You know, you got to go getting locked up because you get caught selling drugs, or you out here robbing and stealing and shooting people. That's not you. And she always told me, that's not you. You're better than that. You can do better than that. You have to believe in yourself just as much as I believe in you. And you got to believe that you need to make these people out to be liars. All of those that have been against you, you make them out to be liars. So yeah, that's a big part of what Albany is. You know, a big part of growing up in Albany. Just those programs that my mom used to have me in, and you know, the people that she used to put me in touch with, the people that she used to, you know, my mom used to have me go with one of the pastors, one of the associate pastors from our church. And he used to hang out with me, and we used to do, you know, different things. We sit and talk, and he would, you know, basically was a mentor to me. Yeah. And, you know, I haven't talked to him in a while, but I'm still friends with his kids because me and his kids was around the same age, you know, and those are the things that are unique to Albany to me. Those are the things that, you know, growing up in Albany, those are the things that I remember that were unique to this area.
Okay. Yeah, man. It's just, I used to think Albany was so much bigger than what it was. Like when I was younger, it'd be like, yo, taking a bus to Schenectady always seemed like this commute, or taking a bus up to Thatcher Park. You know what I mean? It was always like, wow, man, like where are we going? We're going so far away. Yeah. But just like, you know, in a lot of ways, Albany, when you're younger, you know what I mean, you don't know how big the world is. And then like right now it's different. You got technology that'll keep you connected to anybody. You got a friend that moves to Atlanta, that's fine. You can stay connected with them for free.
Right.
Use WhatsApp, use Skype, use whatever it is, you know, or use Facebook Messenger, you know what I mean? But Albany definitely taught me early on that, you know, it's unique just by itself, you know what I mean? And I think that I learned that through that experience, that it was like, Albany doesn't have to be like anybody else. Albany doesn't have to be New York City. It doesn't have to be any other thing that's glorious. So in my travels, I always promote Albany because I understand the uniqueness of Albany. You know what I mean? Albany is dope, you know what I mean, by itself. And it used to be a lot more family oriented and better overall, you know what I mean? But, you know what I mean, still Albany is dope. It is its own unique place.
Absolutely, because I know exactly what you're talking about. While I was in college, you know, a lot of people, oh, you a New York boy, where you are, from the city? You from the city? Nope, I'm from.
Go ahead. Yeah, I think you got low, but I can still hear you.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, I just put you on speakerphone. Okay. I mean on the speaker. So what was I saying? While in college, like I said, yeah, people would ask me, "Oh, well, you from the city? You from the city?" I remember, you know, I got some cousins that live not too far from where I went to college, and at Morris, that live up in Orangeburg, about 35, 45 minutes. And, you know, I used to go up there and see them. And, you know, I'm from New York. You know, they from Orangeburg. They from South Carolina. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, I got a different swag about me. So, you know, we go try and holler at some girls up on one of the college campuses. Where are you from?
You talk different. You talk different. Where you from? I'm from New York, yo. Oh, where we come to the city? And you know, they was like, wait, you from New York City? Where you from? No, I'm not from New York City. I'm from Albany. I'm from Albany. Even though I was born and raised a lot of my life in New York City, I'm from Albany. I'm not from New York City. I'm not from, you know, a lot of people say, you know, they can hear it now because I've been back in Albany for about 10 years now. But when I was in South Carolina, you could hear my, you know, I was actually starting to pick up their, you know, tones and stuff like that. And they were like, you don't sound like you're from New York anymore. I'm like, oh God, I got to go back. I can't take it. I can't do it. Cannot do it. But yeah, no, Albany, like you said, it's its own unique place. Albany will forever be home to me. Even I don't care if I move anywhere else. Albany is always going to be home to me.
I agree. All right. I got a question for you. I'm going to switch the topic for you right now. You know, we talk about a lot of social unrest and police brutality. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm geared towards that. The Black Lives Matter movement isn't just about police brutality, but it's also about dismantling systematic racism. If you were in charge of any facet of that movement in Albany, what are 1 or 2 points that you would like to focus in on as a community?
Well, I think first thing we need to do is look at the economics of it, as far as finances and, you know, owning businesses, owning our own. There's something about owning your own and giving back to your own that I love. And I think a lot of us would love to do that if we saw more of it. So if you see businesses in your community that are catering to you and people that look like you, you're putting your money and your time and your effort into those communities. Those are the things that I would there would be no question. Those are the things that I would be doing. I've played with the thought of starting a clothing line. And I talked to some of my boys. Some of my boys, you know, they have their own businesses already. So they're giving me pointers on what I want to be looking at and what, you know, how to set those kind of things up. Because I think a lot of times we expect so much from our own, but don't expect the same thing from others.
Correct.
And I don't think that's fair. If you expect that from your own, expect that same from others. So I want to build, I would try to, you know, build these things in our own communities so that, you know, when you see that in your community, you're going to take pride in it and you're going to invest in that type of business. I haven't been down there in a while, but I have bought several things out of Fresh and Fly.
Yep.
You know, we all grew up together.
Yep.
To see that young man have his own business, and they've been there, I think it's 8 years now. I was looking at it today on his timeline. He was talking about it. Seeing that young man do the great things that he has done in his community is mind blowing. And that's the type of stuff that, you know, I would want to invest in. I want to make sure that, you know, the community is invested in them in part as far as shopping with them, you know, taking ownership of it as far as, hey, that's my store. You know, I love going to that store. I love being in that store. Those are the type of things that I would, that's one thing that I would do. The next thing I would do is just trying to build pride in our community by bringing, you know, jobs and different, you know, especially jobs. Jobs is a big thing. Me personally, I don't feel right if I don't have a job to go to every day. Whether it's my own business or whether it's, you know, somebody else's business that I'm working for. I think people feel a lot more pride in themselves, in their community, in their friends and family when they have something that they are working towards.
Correct.
And I think that would be that is something that would be vital to any community, especially communities like ours. There are so many people out there right now with the way things are going that don't know where to go. They don't know which way to turn. It's unreal, some of the things that we deal with, especially in our communities. So, showing that kind of pride, showing that kind of love for your community, by being employed in your community, showing that, hey, this is ours. This is not everybody's. This is not yours. This is ours. If you want to support us, that's fine, but this is still ours. We're taking ownership of this. We are putting our efforts, our money, our energy, our love into our community by supporting these types of businesses, because they're employing us and taking care of us. Those are some of the things that I really, really would look at doing if I was able to do that.
You touched on a part of just like and really just boils down to support. You know what I mean? To support. So I just left Albany, right? So I came up. I just left Albany. So and one, you mentioned just a justice spot, right? So whenever I'm in Albany, I'll stop by and I'll go buy something about it at the store. Not that I don't have places that I can buy from down here or whatever, but I like to support. And he'll tell you, I like to go in. I typically leave the family in the car. I go find something to go ahead and go do. I'm gonna spend my money there. Right. I was just up there. It was too funny. I needed an oil change, and my guy came by the house and he said, man, why didn't you come by the garage? I said, I wasn't thinking. But if I was thinking, I definitely would have came over there and spent my money with you guys. You know what I mean? I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, get this done before you get back on the road to head back down. But, it's just really about support. You know what I mean? And as you said, sometimes we treat other Black owners or Black businesses in a different aspect. It's like, what you going to give me on a discount? And it's just like, listen, we're not getting those same level of discounts elsewhere. And if you want these businesses to thrive, if you want these businesses to stay around, we got to be willing to support and be able to invest back. So, even on here, I buy a lot of products from people who sell things in Albany. And, and I'll come back in and I'll wear it. This sweater that I got right here is not from Albany, but, one of the guys I went to undergrad with, he makes a bunch of T-shirts and sweaters. And listen, my closets are filled with products of supporting other people. And
that's a great thing. I literally just got in the mail today a book from one of my colleagues at Morris College, and I made sure that she signed it, personalized it to me, because I told her, once you become big, I don't want you to be acting like you don't know me, because I'm gonna put this book up like, see, she signed it, and it was personalized to me, and that's a very big thing with me. But what made it even better for me, my wife is the same way.
Nice.
Our wedding was basically done by Black people.
Nice.
We had a student at one of the colleges do our wedding invitations, our reminders, our wedding invitations. We went to ACS Printing on Orange Street to do our actual wedding invitations. We had a Black wedding planner. We got married in Jamaica. We are very, very big with supporting our own, because if we don't do it, who will? Who's going to support us like us? But one thing about it is, we got to make sure that if we're going to support our own, that our own has to support us too. And that's one thing we gotta get our people to understand. Couple months back, sometime earlier last year, I went and drove down to New York City. Me and the boys, we went down to New York City to hang out, and I really wanted to look for this store. I really, really wanted to look for this store. Did not find it. Went back online when I got back home and told him, hey, I was looking for the store. I didn't find it. He told me where it was. Literally, we was 1 block away from where the store was. What did I do? That very next weekend, I drove down there by myself and supported that store. I literally, I'll tell my wife this, but I literally dropped $1,300 in that weekend. Now, it wasn't all my money because other people wanted some things, but we dropped $1,300 in that store. The guy never. The guy, all we asked was that you posted a picture of us buying stuff, because he actually took the picture of us and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna post this picture." Never did. And I'm like, dude, I drove down to New York City the next weekend. We was down here the weekend before. I drove back down there, so that means I gotta pay for gas and tolls going both ways twice. Got a ticket in front of your store. And you post me. I'm like, come on, brother, you got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. So we got to, you know, that you know, I was upset with him for that, but that's not going to take me away from supporting my own.
Correct. I mean, support is support.
Yeah. Always going to support my own. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, talking about supporting your own, sadly, Albany has seen more and more violence in our communities, have experienced a lot of loss over the past few years. What changes would you like to see? What is your hope for the city, T?
I think my hope, and probably most people's hope for the city, is the same that we want for not just the city, but for the state, for the country, for the world. We just want everybody to matter. I hate to see so many people, you know, get offended when somebody says Black Lives Matter. Oh, all lives matter. Nobody's disputing that. But are Black lives really mattering to people? Are you showing Black people that their lives matter to you? There's been, it's so ridiculous, the amount of stuff that, you know, we're just starting to, people think that these are new cases that are coming up, where people getting killed over, you know, selling CDs or you know, jogging and all. These are not new cases. It's just how it happens that people have cell phones that have cameras on them now, and they're being videotaped and they're being put out there for everybody to see. How and it's crazy, because I've never seen this country so divided in my life. I've never seen this. The division in this country right now is ridiculous. There are people that I work with that are at odds with each other over simple things as Black Lives Matter. Like, how do you not understand? Like, how do you not understand that? Nobody is saying that nobody else matters, but how do you think your coworker feels that when he leaves there, and if he gets pulled over, he's in fear for his life over what could be a tail light or a light on a license plate being out? He is, you know, it's scary to think how people like you and I have to move so cautiously at everything we do, when others just free reign to do whatever they want. They ain't got to worry about anything. You know, they don't have the worries that we have. For me to have to, you know, for us to have to tell our sons at an early age, hey, if a cop says this to you, you need to do this, you need to do that. All I want you to do is come home. I don't care about what happened, as long as you come home. Make sure you're as polite as you can be, but I just need you to get home. Yeah. How do people that don't look like us not understand that simple measure of just not having to worry about my son getting home after being pulled over?
How about this? You know, and I'm gonna do a little prying on this one, but
okay.
Let's just not focus in on the people who don't look like us, who don't understand it. You know what I mean? Because we got people that look just like you and I who still don't understand it. And, you know, like when you talk about what's going on right now in Albany presently, it's just like, you know, that affects us. Albany is a small community. You know, it's a small community. So pretty much if something happens up in Arbor Hill, it affects somebody on the west, or I mean on the south end as well. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's family is interconnected sometimes, and a lot of times we don't even understand how interconnected we are. So it's just like, it's not just the outsiders, but it's also us being able to, you know what I mean, not live in fear towards one another, and to be able to realize that it's enough space for us all to eat. And I think a lot of times people think that, you know, I don't want you to shine, because if you shine, you're going to take away from me. When really, it's enough opportunity for us all to eat. We may not eat at the same time, you know what I mean, but you know what I mean. What did it say? I was about to say an alpha poem, but you know, it's not always your time, but you have to when it's somebody else's time to start, you need to stand there and cheer for them too. You know what I mean? So right now we got a lot of hate. We got a lot of hate, and it's just like, you know, I want what you want, but I don't want to put in the work for what you to acquire what you have. And it's just like, you know, I have a lot of hate for myself. I got a lot of hate for the community. And it's just like, you know, how do we change that? Because that's the other sad part of it. It's just like, you know, yeah, we got the outsiders that look like that or feel this way, but sometimes it's us that feel this way too. And being able to change that, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I just seen you at a funeral up there. I came back to Albany for a funeral, you know, and it's just like, you know, that has to change, because that affects us mentally on so many different levels. It affects so many different families on so many different levels, and it's just it's becoming too normalized, if that's the right way of saying that.
And that's a good point that you bring up, because I don't see how people could look at others and be envious or jealous of them. Most times you don't know the work that they've put in. The good thing that I love about the friends that I have, and I've had the same friends for 25 years now. That's one reason why, you know, my wife gets on me, because I always say no new friends. I don't need no new friends. I got friends, you know, I got friends, I got associates. I'm cool with what I got. I don't need any new ones. But those guys have been my biggest cheerleaders since we became friends. I have been their biggest cheerleaders since we became friends. Not one of us, you know, and we make sure we tell each other, hey, yo, I'm looking at buying a house. Look at this house. Yo, that house is bad. Yo, bro, if you get it, you know, I just need my key. I need my key. That's all I'm saying is I need my key. And I'm like, you already know you got a key. What are you talking about? You don't need to tell me you need a key. You know you already got a key.
You better call before you come up in here, though, because I got a wife up in here, and ain't nobody over here.
You're absolutely right about that. But that's the kind of relationship that I have with them. So there is never going to be any hate. We're always going to be each other's best cheerleaders. And I had a friend, I hate to say it, I had a friend that I felt like that is the reason why we're no longer friends, because he wasn't one of my cheerleaders like I was like he was. When he got his first job and he was making $80,000 a year, you know, straight out of college back in 90 and you know 2002, I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm happy, yo. Let's go celebrate, yo. Drinks on you, of course, because you just got the big job. Yo, I'm with you. Let's go celebrate. Yeah, you don't live here. I'm coming to you, or you coming to me. Which one is it? That's the kind of things that, you know, that's the kind of person that I am. That's the kind of person that I need in my life. Those are the type of friends that I have.
Gotcha.
We don't have room for hate. We don't have time for hate. We busy trying to motivate, and we're trying to dominate everything. We're trying to build. And if we're not, you know, doing that together, then we're not doing it at all.
Okay.
So, you know, we don't have the time for the hate. There's so much hate going on in this world right now. Yeah. We don't need to add to it. We don't want to add to it. We about showing love. We about, you know, being there for each other. You know, all my boys, my daughter knows all of them as uncle this, uncle that. Mar's her godfather. Mar called me, what, 2 weeks ago. Yo, Imani needs to come over for the weekend. All right, I'll drop her off. You know, that's how it is. And my daughter loves going over there, hanging out with them. I mean, that's the type of, that's where we are. We're not, you know, all of this hate. We ain't got time for that, man. We busy trying to grow and build with each other, and that's what we're doing.
And you, because this is the second time that you touched on a point without touching on it on a deeper level. Friendship. A lot of us don't know what friendship looks like. You know what I mean? How friendship is and what it takes to maintain friendship. You know what I mean? Because it's going to change. Everyone grows, everyone matures, and people do that at different times. But it's just like, you know, when you really, as I like to say, you know, I want the people in my life, I want everybody to win. You know, I want everybody to win. You know what I mean? We ain't got to win together. I don't care if you ain't together, but I want everybody to win.
Right.
You know what I mean? But friendship is essential, as another organization would say. You know what I mean? Friendship is essential because it's the truth. And you surround yourself with success. You surround yourself, you know what I mean, with people who are going to feed into you, and you can feed into them, and it's reciprocal. You know what I mean? And so friendship, I've heard you indirectly touch on that twice already. So I just wanted to bring it to the forefront. You know what I mean? People need to look at their circles. Look at your circle. Look at who's in your circle. Look at who is adding to and who's taking away from it. And sometimes you got to change up your circles if it's not being as supportive as you need it to be. You don't need someone to always tell you all the gloating things, but sometimes you need someone to be able to call you out on it and be like, yo, you know, Tyrell, you were wrong when you did that. You were wrong when you said that. Be like, I wasn't wrong, but now you might be right. So, you know what I mean? But either which way, real friends will hold you accountable, and real friends will help get you to where you need to go.
Absolutely. And that's a big part of our friendship. There's been times when Mara pulled me to the side like, yo, that was messed up what you did, and you need to figure that out. I'll help you figure it out. But, you know, we don't rock like that. You better than that. We need to sit down and figure out what you need to do and how we can make this better. And you're not saying you need to fix it yourself and go do it yourself. We need to sit down and figure out how we can do this. And that's big to me because, you know, earlier in my life, you know, coming up through foster care, I didn't have very many friends. But I got these ain't even friends. These are brothers now that will cheer me on, but will curse me out and tell me I did something wrong in a heartbeat. Not they will, and you know these dudes. You know all of them. These dudes will tell me, yo, you was crap for that. And
listen, your clique has been some of the funniest people ever. And it's too funny. Yo, I'm thinking of a story. For some reason, I want to say my freshman year, it might have been you that ended up coming on campus with Mar my freshman year.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And
okay. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, it's really funny. It's funny, but it's important to understand, like, you know, the importance of having good people in your life, good people that can set an example. Absolutely. As opposed to, you know what I mean, following all the negativity or the things that could lead you in other ways. You know what I mean?
I was just telling my father-in-law about that tonight, about us coming down to see you at Johnson C. Smith. Yep.
Yeah,
just
man.
Telling him about that. Yep.
Just like, listen, I mean, and just taking the time out. Like for me, it was just like, so I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's just like, so anytime I seen somebody from the town, it was on. It was always a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? It was a beautiful thing. So it was just like, yo, it was dope. And it's like, you know, your friends, your clique, your brothers, you know what I mean? You guys have always been the same way you guys are right now. As some of the most accountable, down to earth, and funny funny dudes to be around, man. It's just like, it was always a good time. Even like me coming up, it was always fun to go to Mars' house or whatever and intertwine with all you dudes, because it was always going to be a good time. So, you know, I mean, I'm thankful to hear that all you guys of friendships have survived this long, because that's what it's really all about, man. Being able to motivate each other and push each other to have those real friendships.
And you know, last 2 years, we done been on like 4 trips out of the country together. I mean, this is how we roll. Like on a weekend, we'd be like, yo, let's go to London real quick just for the weekend. Ain't nobody talking about I can't go, I ain't got no money. Yo, we ain't say that. We said let's go to London. We all on the plane going to London. I mean, where did we go? We went to Jamaica for the wedding. First we went to Dominican Republic for the bachelor party. We went to Jamaica for the wedding, came back, went to London, and I went somewhere else. I went to Thailand as well. But 3 out of the 6 vacations that I've gone on in the last 3 years, it was all of my boys.
Nice.
All of them. And that's the type of friendships, those are the type of friendships that last. You know, when you make those, when you guys, you know, you're like-minded, you know, always trying to improve, always trying to get better, always trying to do better for you, not just you, but for your family, for your community. Those are the type of friends that are long-lasting, and those are the type of friends that you need around you. And like you said, sometimes you got to cut your circle. I hate to, I'm gonna tell the story, and I hate to tell it, but it's a true story. I actually had another person in my wedding as one of my groomsmen, and he got into it with my other boys. And one of my boys was like, look, I know we beefing right now. Let's fly into wherever you want to fly into, sit down and talk it out, you know, so we can make this wedding good for Ty. It's not about us right now. It's about Ty and his wedding. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to get mad and curse and all and call people out their names and stuff like that. And it was like, it showed me that who was really down for me and who wasn't. Because my man was like, yo, I don't care where you want to fly into. I live in PA. If you want to fly to Nebraska and we meet, I'm with it. We can meet right there in the airport, talk it out, go back home to ourselves. He didn't want to do that. So that showed me a lot, where I was like, yo, I guess he ain't a groomsman no more. I mean, it's cool, but you know, when you got people that's willing to go to those extents for you, I mean, what more can you even say? What more can you say about that?
And here's the other part though too though. To be honest, it goes back to the other thing. Everyone grows at different times. So you know, me and Raekwon, you know, I mean, I can say his anywho, because he asked to be on here, so he wants to tell his Albany love story. So
I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna loop my man back in there on this one. But we were just talking not too long ago, and I was just telling him, was like, there was a time period in my life where I pushed everything away that I thought was negative. And it was what I thought that I needed to do, because I didn't know how to still be intertwined in all of this and then still be trying to find a way to go towards positivity. So I just pushed everything away that was negative. And, you know, that was one of the things that I had told him at the time, was just like, I wish I had known how to handle the situation a little bit better. You know what I mean? I didn't have as many tools as I have now. So, you know, everyone grows at different times, but you got to put in the work to grow. And then you can go back and make amends in areas or in situations where you could have done it better that you didn't do at the time.
Right.
You know, but I mean, you got to be willing for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let me see, man. Success is measured in many ways. How do you measure your success, and how do you stay motivated, T?
And I hate to sound like a broken record, but the way I measure my success, by proving all of those people wrong that told me I wouldn't be here where I am today.
Okay.
That's how I measure my success. My success is not everybody's success. Everybody has their own definition of success. Everybody has their own their own things that they consider success. Some people, oh, I got, $1 million house and, fancy cars and stuff like that. Nah, my success, I made liars out of these people. I made a liar out of that teacher that told me I wouldn't grow up to be anything. I made a liar out of that teacher that told me that, I might either have a bunch of kids in jail, dead. I won't make it to C18. I'm making liars out of that. Making people, showing people that I'm not what they thought I was.
Okay.
That's the best success to me. Even with my current position that I'm in, it was a process to get this position that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for the position and the HR sent me a message that I did not qualify for the position. Wait, what? What do you mean I didn't qualify for the position? I ended up having to break my resume down into 4 pages of what all the details of everything that I'd done. I get an email back from them. Literally, the email from the HR guy said, "Oh, I guess you are qualified. I'll put your paperwork through." I get a call for an interview. My interview lasts 2.5 hours. They literally grilled me for 2.5 hours. It took them 6 months to actually hire me. I got hired with another guy, white guy, cool guy. I get hired with him. We're just talking about our process. I'm like, yeah, I had to go into the office. My interview was 2.5 hours. Really? My interview was a Zoom meeting or a video meeting that lasted 45 minutes. Really? I find that interesting. I ended up, every couple of years every year we do a annual training where all of the officers come together and we, have a training. I talked to a young Black girl that was there, asked her about her process. Her interview was 2 hours long. Very interesting. Very interesting. I got into the job. I actually didn't do my first claim till about maybe 2 months in. I would have done it earlier, but they couldn't get all my credentials and stuff done like they were supposed to. Without a doubt, I've been one of the highest. One of the most successful VSOs in the Albany area as far as getting money into the New York State. I've brought in over $1 million since being in this organization a little over almost 6 years now. Okay. Getting veterans claims, getting people $200,000 back pay checks and stuff like that. But yet I still deal with the same BS, them switching me up into different positions and, knowing that, I'm not interested in these things, but they still want to put me here, put me there. It just seems like I still need to show them
always
that they're liars or that they doubted me. I can't stand what I do now. It has taken the zest away from what I've been doing for the last 6 years. Does it mean that I'm not going to work my butt off to do it? No, not at all. I'm just going to continue to look for something better. But while I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm going to continue to work hard and show them why they are liars. And I will always do that. I will always do that. That is that's probably one of the biggest things about me. I'm always trying to prove somebody wrong. I'm always trying to make somebody out to be a liar.
I think I used to be there, T. I think
Yeah.
I used to be there. My attitude used to always be like, I'm going to show you better than I can tell you.
Right.
Right. So like, even when you said, like, when you got that letter that said that you have met your credentials and you can participate in commencement, I felt that because, when I got that letter, It was just like, yo, okay, you know, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. It was just like, I can drink now. You know what I mean? It was just like, you know, listen, I'm going to go have a drink, you know? So
Right.
it was kind of like, you know, because you get a chance to prove everyone wrong. And I've always, I fed off of that for a while. You know, I don't want to say I feed off of that anymore. Like I just want to be healthy, whatever healthy looks like for Tyrell. You know what I mean? I want to be healthy. Right. And it's just like, you know, so being healthy, you know what I mean, still means you're going to have your ups and downs and going through the battles that you need to. But it's just like, whatever, ignorance is always going to outweigh intelligence. So you're always going to have a lot more ignorant people in ignorant situations. And it's just kind of like, you know, hey, if I can prove you wrong just by me being happy, by me being healthy, I've proven you wrong in that way, as opposed to, you know what I mean, me showing you the error of your ways. It's like, listen, I'm gonna show you, better not tell you. Right. I'm gonna be good. So I'm gonna be happy, healthy, and whole. Like, why are you smiling, Tyrone? You don't have nothing. I have a lot to be smiling for. I got my wife, I got my family, I got my daughter, I got my job. And guess what? And it's gonna get better from here too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Well, let me see, man. I'm not gonna hold you up too much longer. I do want to ask you this one: how has traveling or relocation impacted your life? You know what I mean? I really want to touch on that for you because you spend time in the service, you spend time away for school. You mentioned these exploration trips that you and your boys go on. You know what I mean? How has traveling shifted your worldview?
So the biggest thing is, like I said before, just being grateful for what I got, because, you know, traveling to these other countries. I remember, you know, when I was in Iraq, I was a part of a unit that built pipelines. I was a medic for 250 soldiers. We are in the middle of the desert, and we build basically a little small city in the middle of the desert. It's crazy because, you know, it's nerve-wracking when you see people coming up to you and not know what their intentions are. Mm-hmm. But in the majority of my time in Kuwait and Iraq, the people that I've come across, they were excited to see us. They were, it was, how do I explain it? They felt comfortable with us being there, which was weird to me because basically we're in a wartime situation. Mm-hmm. We would build these, you know, these little small cities, and you would see people. When we first get there, there's nobody around. I mean, nowhere. By the time we leave, 6-9 months later, we have little cities around us that they have made. Now they are living in a tent. They have maybe some kind of sheet that makes a, you know, little fort, like, you know, like our kids would do in their bedrooms. Mm-hmm. They're making this in the middle of the desert. It's 120 degrees, and this is their house. This isn't, you know, they're not making this to spend time with their kids. This is their house. This is where they live. They might live under this sheet with 6 or 7 people. To see things like that, and them just being grateful for little things. You know, we have those meals that we call them MREs, meals ready to eat, where, you know, you take some water and a little heating pack and heat up your food. Just us giving them something small like that, you would have thought you just gave them a house or a brand new car or something, you know, something that was really, really meaningful. To see that kind of, you know, excitement about those things. And for me to get upset because I don't want to spend this money on these new jeans that I saw that I really like, it makes you put things in perspective. Correct. You know, it definitely opened my eyes up to how privileged we are here in the United States compared to other countries, or how privileged we are living upstate New York compared to living down in New York City, where the same apartment that I may pay, $1,000, $1,200, they're paying $3,500 for. It definitely opened my eyes to, just being grateful for the things that I have, because, I could have been them. I could have been, less than them. I could have been, I could have been some of the people that we went to high school with. I know at least 2 or 3 people that I went to high school with that are homeless. All the time walking around here. I'm like, this dude plays football with me, one of the best defensive safeties I've ever seen in my life. And he's been living on the streets probably since we graduated. So, some places I've been, it's been, they've had it better than we've had it here in the United States. But a lot of places that I went to, they don't have it as good as us. So I get that perspective on both ends to be able to say, I'm just grateful for what I have. Yes, I worked my butt off to get to where I am, and will continue to work to get things even better than where they are now. But I'm definitely grateful I'm not where I could have been, because like I said, I could have accepted what that teacher told me and not been anything, or been in jail, been dead by now. But me not accepting that, saying that I'm gonna prove him wrong, that's the biggest part of, being grateful and gracious for what I do have.
Okay. Let me see. I got 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
How did growing up in Albany prepare you for adulthood?
That toughness. Albany, it was tough growing up in Albany. It was tough. Going to Albany High, and 90% of the students there are on some kind of public assistance, trying to we not having, like I said, I look at it now and just grateful for what I do have, but I remember them struggle days. I remember them days where, my mother did the best that she could, and what she did was better than a lot of mothers or fathers or parents have done, especially being that we were not her biological children. You're making a home for some kids that you don't know. Basically, you don't know. So we had to deal with not knowing her as well. So for us moving from New York City to Albany it's a culture shock. It's a big difference. I don't remember seeing white people when I was down in Queens. Now I'm seeing white people in my classes and everywhere. That's a big difference. I'm going to school not having, the best gear, like some of the people I might hang with, they got the freshest, Air Maxes on, or the flyest Air Force Ones on, and I got on some, I have on some Nikes, but they like bottom of the line Nikes. They not no, Uptowns or nothing like that. So it made me, it gave me that toughness to want more and want to do better. It gave me the friends that I have that were like, this is not good for us. This is not what we want to bring our children up in. So we're gonna work hard, and we're gonna do what we need to do to get out of here and change that situation. Either you coming with us, or you can go about your business and go do your own thing. But this is where we are, and this is what we're doing. So which is it? I'm going with y'all. I want better for myself. I want better for maybe my future children or my future wife. And that's, like I said, Albany was not my original home, but it became home more than my original home was. And these are the things that helped me grow. These are the things and the people that showed me that I can do just as much, I can do just as well as anybody else, as long as I put the effort in, put that, when it's time to grit, show that grit, that's what, you got to do it. You got to do it. Yeah, it was tough growing up. It was tough growing up, especially, living on Livingston Ave, it was not the best.
Mm.
It was not the best of situations. My boy, I go around the corner on Second Street. I'm going to hang out there, and we talk about that pretty regularly. His old house ain't even there no more. They
It
knocked
ain't
it
even
down.
there no more.
Not
Listen,
even
listen.
there no more.
Not even there no more.
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like the things that we had to deal with, I remember big fights, being part of them. I ain't gonna say how much, but being a part of those types of things, it was a fight all the time just to make it and just to be
Yes, sir.
better and just to try to better your situation. And I think Albany and definitely instilled that in me to just fight. You don't let nobody put you down. Ain't nobody better than you. You do what you got to do to succeed, but you keep fighting.
Okay. And I think you touched on that one. And it's nope. Actually, I'm bringing you back to this one for my last one, because
Okay,
we talked about it offline before we came online. So
I got you.
I'm gonna bring you back here because I liked your answer. Anywho. So,
Okay.
are there any resources, apps, books, podcasts, motivational thoughts that you are watching right now that inspires you, Tyrone? One, I'm asking that because I want to hear what your motivational piece would be to the BAC community, to the Albany community, whatever you like, bro.
Gotcha. So right now, the things that motivate me the most are my family. I'm 2 years married. Just celebrated our second anniversary last month.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Just making sure that I am the person that they need me to be. That's my motivation. Just seeing them happy, making sure that they're well taken care of, that they understand that I am always going to be there for them one way or another. There's nothing that's going to, hinder me from being there for them. I think that is one of the biggest motivations. Um, you know, my my daughter has been definitely one of my biggest motivations. You know, as I think most of us know, the black female, boy, they 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 take it. They take that punishment. Um, Definitely black male takes it, but black female, that's a
What did
totally
Louis
different
Farrakhan
level.
say? The most unprotected.
They really are. They really are. So my daughter is definitely one of my biggest pieces of motivation because I got to make sure that she's able to maneuver through this through life and through the ups and the downs and how to navigate those types of things. Um, I fear of leaving her and her not being prepared to move on with life. And I think that's a big motivation for me. I know my family probably thinks I'm on her too hard. I still got that a little bit of that military in me. So, I get on her, and sometimes I have to look at myself and say I need to ease up some, but I want to make sure she's prepared. I don't want her to ever say, my dad never told me about that. My dad never prepared me for that. My dad never, gave me the knowledge about this. That's one of my biggest fears of God forbid something happens to me and I not tell her how she needs to how she needs to maneuver. I would never want that to happen. So I think those right now, those are my biggest motivations. I do listen to I'm not really a big podcast guy. I haven't listened to very many podcasts. I listen to a few, but I do like to listen to different radio shows. Karen Hunter has a really good one. Uh, Joe Madison. Those are some good ones off Sirius XM. I like to listen to their shows that give you a lot of insight on the Black community, things that the Black community needs to know, to be prepared to try to uplift each other and better ourselves, our communities, our families. Those are some of the things that I've been those are the things that basically have been motivating me right now. It's just my family right now. I'm like I said, I'm trying to buy a house, be working on a baby, all of those types of things. Those are the things that motivate me right now. I don't have.
You don't get no greater motivation than that one, Ty.
You really
at all.
don't. You really don't. If your family isn't your biggest motivation, I don't know what's going on with you. Because I need my family to be, I need us to be ready to take on the world. That was one of the things that when we got interviewed for our wedding, that was one of the things that both of us said. We ready to take on the world together, and that's what I want to do. Take on the world, and have our own success, whatever that may mean to us. It doesn't have to be successful, success to everybody else. As long as it's success to us, that's what motivates me to continue on and keep pushing forward to try to make sure that we get to that point.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you sharing, brother.
You already know.
It's been a pleasure just being able to dive a little bit more into your life and explore your experiences. So thank you for sharing. Final question I ask every person that I interview, if there was a person that you think that I should interview next or interview for back, who would it be?
That's a great question. Oh man. Who has a really good, even though they're not from Albany, they have been doing a lot in Albany for years. Brother Ellis.
Okay.
Brother Christopher Ellis.
Okay.
And of course my father-in-law, that.
Okay.
Brother Derek Horton, of course he's frat as well. But you already know we got some amazing brothers in our fraternity. So, you can't go wrong with a fraternity brother. But I mean, there's some other guys out there that are doing some big things as well. So, or who else you might want to look at? Maybe Mr. Neil Curry, principal of Albany Community Charter School.
Okay.
He started that school. So, he's got a great story as well. So there's just a couple.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Albany community, I would like to say thank you to Tyrone. Let me see if I get this. Waklatsi.
You got it. You got it.
All right. You know what I mean? Listen, T, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, brother. I'm absolutely proud of you. I'm excited to see your family, your growth, your overall lust for love, brother. I wish you nothing but continued success. Keep that circle tight and keep that circle right. And we're going to end it like this. 06.
06, good brother.